I'd had the helmet on.
All right.
But next year, I know it'll be hot, but next year
You're Han Solo.
Yes. Yes. I had like a hood on, but yeah, not. And that's Dave Michael. But next year I'm going to insist that everybody. Come on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Everybody can take a seat. Good afternoon. I am Melinda Pettigrew, Dean of the School of Public Health, and I am really excited to welcome you to our 2026 commencement. I'm thrilled we have such a beautiful day to welcome all of you, including those who joined us via the live webcast. Given the geographic diversity of our student body, our graduates and families and friends are watching from all over the world. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that the School of Public Health at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities is built upon the traditional homelands of the Dakota people. Minnesota comes from the Dakota name for this region, Minnesota Makoche, which loosely translates to the land where the waters reflect the skies. It is important to acknowledge the peoples on whose land we live, learn, and work to improve and strengthen our relationships with tribal nations. We also acknowledge that words are not enough. We must ensure that our institution provides support, resources, and programs that increase access to all aspects of higher education for our American Indian students, staff, faculty, and community members. Our school's commencement reminds faculty why we chose a career in higher education. You, our students, came here from all over the world for the education, mentoring, and training that you'll need to make the world a better place. We are honored to have been your partners and guides as you launched or grew your careers. I'd like to acknowledge how challenging the past few years have been for public health. Many of you may be feeling uncertain about the future. You may be questioning whether now is the right time to pursue a career in this field, or wondering how to navigate what's ahead. I want to be honest with you. This is absolutely a challenging time to step into this work, and it's okay to feel the weight of that. In fact, feeling the weight means you truly understand what's at stake. I also want to share that despite the challenges, I believe this is exactly the right time to be in public health. Public health isn't just a profession, it's a way of seeing the world. It's about community. It's about prevention, equity, systems, and solutions. Your skills are vital and deeply needed across many sectors and settings. This moment calls for creativity, courage, flexibility, and resilience. And I believe we will rise to meet it together, because that is what public health does. We show up for one another. We draw strength from our communities, and we do the hard work together because we know lasting change is never accomplished alone. This is a field rooted in collaboration and in the belief that progress is possible when we pool our talents, when we lift each other up, and we stay committed to something that is bigger than ourselves. But this together doesn't stop with our graduates. It includes every person in this auditorium and everyone watching from home. Public health is the invisible thread that connects us all. It's the safety of the water that we drink, the resilience of the neighborhoods where we raise our children, and the peace of mind we feel when loved ones receive quality health care. When public health succeeds, our entire society thrives. When it struggles, we feel the impact. To the families, friends, and mentors here today, you are already part of this work. By supporting these graduates through late nights and long years, you have invested in the health of your communities. Today marks a major milestone for our students as they forge the future that they want for themselves and for others. For more than 80 years, we have prepared some of the world's most influential leaders in the field, and today we will award over 250 degrees to students who will go on to transform the way public health is practiced around the world. Representing the University of Minnesota Board of Regents, Co-Vice Chair, I just had excuse me. All right, pages sticking. Sorry. In your commencement program, you will see some students are identified as members of the Delta Omega Honorary Society in Public Health. The society was founded in 1924, and our Pi chapter has more than 900 students, faculty, and alumni members. Membership in Delta Omega reflects an individual's dedication to increasing the quality of our field, as well as the protection and advancement of health for all people. Members are chosen through a selective process that considers their outstanding performance and devotion to the field. Congratulations to this year's inductees. We have a wonderful celebration planned for today. Many thanks to everyone who contributed to this important event. First, let me introduce you to those on stage. When I call your name, please stand so that we can recognize you. Representing the University of Minnesota Board of Regents, Co-Vice Chair Ruth Johnson. A special welcome to University of Minnesota President Rebecca Cunningham, whose primary academic affiliation is within the Division of Epidemiology and Community Health. We are also thrilled to have nationally recognized public health leader, Dr. Debra Houry, join us as a special guest and keynote speaker. This year's University Mace Bearer and School of Public Health Alumni Society Board Representative, Kim McCoy, class of 2007. Our 2026-2027 SPH Student Senate Vice President, Carly Allison. And class of 2026 student speaker, Zidane Galant-LaPorte. Let's also recognize School of Public Health leadership, past and present. As I name you, please stand and remain standing. Those of you in the audience, please hold your applause until I get through the list. Associate Dean for Research, Nancy Sherwood. Professor and Head of the Division of Environmental Health Sciences, Bruce Alexander. Professor and Head of the Division of Biostatistics and Health Data Science, Joe Koopmeiners. Professor and Head of the Division of Epidemiology and Community Health, Lisa Harnick. Professor and Head of the Division of Health Policy and Management, Jean Abraham. And former Interim Dean, Tim Beebe. Our faculty come to us from backgrounds in more than 24 fields of graduate study, including anthropology, chemistry, engineering, mathematics, medicine, microbiology, psychology, and sociology, giving our students incredible insights into the opportunities to improve public health. On stage with me today are many of these faculty. Would you please stand so that we can recognize you? These faculty members are dedicated to equipping our students to respond to the world's most pressing public health issues. Thank you all. It is now my distinct honor to introduce the leader who understands the heart of our mission because she is, fundamentally, one of us. Dr. Rebecca Cunningham joined the University of Minnesota as our 18th president and also joined SPH as a faculty member in the Division of Epidemiology and Community Health. Before leading this great institution, she spent over 20 years as a physician and researcher, specifically focusing on some of the most pressing public health crises of our time, including firearm safety and injury prevention. Please join me in welcoming President Rebecca Cunningham.
Thank you, Dean Pettigrew, and to the class of 2026, congratulations. It's always good to be back in public health. Commencement is one of the most joyous days in the life of a university. It brings together all the reasons that we exist. Your achievements in learning, there were a lot of them, right? Our contributions collectively to knowledge and service in Minnesota and the world, and to the extraordinary university community you have joined and helped shape, and you have helped shape it while we're here, and I'll get back to that in a minute. For me personally, today's ceremony offers a chance to step back and to reconnect with my own roots in public health, higher education, and the reasons I've devoted a lifetime to this calling. I'm proud to call each of you a colleague in this work. I know the rigorous training you've completed, and I hope today you can find a moment of quiet joy to think about all the hard work that got you to this moment. My own path in public health started in the emergency department. In that setting, the world arrives at your door in the most vulnerable state. I saw day after day the results of systems that were not working. I saw the impact of gun violence, the devastation of the opioid crisis, and the heavy toll of health inequities that meant two people with the same injury would have two very different outcomes based on their zip code. I realized then what you now know. We can't simply treat our way out of those problems. If we only wait for people to arrive at the hospital, we have already lost the battle of well-being. To truly save lives, we have to move upstream. We have to change the conditions that create those injuries and illnesses in the first place. And that's the primary mission of public health, and it's the mission you have chosen to make your life's work. At the University of Minnesota, we are the energy for change. And during your time here, each of you has fueled that energy. Today, more than ever, the world needs your talent, your expertise, and your creativity. During your careers, you will be called on to respond to the rising economic inequality, structural racism, and their devastating effects. You will be asked to confront the global health threats posed by a rapidly changing climate, and you will be the ones who stand on the front lines against the newly emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. You will be tasked with navigating a growing epidemic of gun violence and injury, a topic close to my own heart and research, where we know that data and compassion must work hand in hand to keep our communities safe. You will be part of the response to the ongoing crisis of the drug overdose deaths which continue to drive down life expectancy in our nation. And you will be the leaders who finally work to reverse the alarming increases in maternal and infant mortality that should have no place in a modern society. When we list these challenges one after another, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But as I look at you out today, I have an unshakable faith in your ability to meet this moment with clarity, courage, and commitment. Students who follow in your footsteps will feel the impact that you have had here at the University of Minnesota. And your future colleagues and communities will benefit from what you bring forward as you carry this experience and all your experiences forward into the world. Graduates, all of you arrive at this day with important people who've walked alongside you, supporting you on your journey. To the family and friends who made it possible for you to attend, and not just attend, but thrive at the University of Minnesota, let's give those friends and families one more round of applause. Thank you to all of them. To the members of our faculty and staff who created and cultivated your experience here, offering their knowledge and care and deep dedication, we are grateful to you. And to each of our graduates, remember, public health is the work of hope. Hope is not a passive wish that things will get better. It is a disciplined, scientific belief that our future is not yet written. It's the conviction that we have the tools, the data, and the collective will to change the narrative. Finally, I'll add one more thought, graduates, before we get on to the heart of our proceedings, which are indeed about you, don't worry. My most important call for you today is when you leave this campus, do not leave this community. The people who were here for you down the hall next to each other when you needed a boost, they will be here for you whenever you find yourself that you need them. Seek them out. This institution also, we have dedicated ourselves to your growth and flourishing so far to this date, and we remain dedicated to your growth and flourishing now and throughout your life. So take advantage of that. The spirit that gives such warmth to your relationships and such spark to your drive for your work to this date, that is now your spirit to carry forward. Let the University of Minnesota spirit give life to all that you do in the years to come. So once more, congratulations to all of you, and please stay in touch. Next, it is my honor and privilege to welcome Dr. Debra Houry as our keynote speaker. As a nationally recognized physician and public health leader, Dr. Houry has nearly 3 decades of experience guiding health and public health strategy across the federal health systems, and academia. As a board-certified emergency physician, she also brings the perspective of a frontline patient care. And I've gotten to see her firsthand leadership grow from our early days as assistant faculty, advancing injury prevention, to her amazing work and her courage and her integrity on the national stage. Dr. Houry serves as a senior advisor to governors, states, and regional organizations on health policy, access, and preparedness. She's an adjunct professor at the Emory School of Medicine and Rollins School of Public Health, and a senior fellow at the Yale School of Public Health. In her prior role at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. Houry advanced national strategies on opioid use, suicide prevention, and mental health. As an elected member of the National Academy of Medicine, she has received numerous honors, including the American Medical Association Award for Outstanding Government Service. And more importantly, she is a leader who personifies integrity in the face of often fake science. Please join me in welcoming my dear friend and amazing colleague, Dr. Debra Houry.
Well, thank you, President Cunningham and Dean Pettigrew, for your kind introductions. It is such an honor and a delight to be here to celebrate this extraordinary group of public health graduates. And I hope you all take this well-deserved occasion to pause and reflect on what you've accomplished. So I think both speakers have already alluded that it's slightly challenging times in public health. There's been, some changes to federal agencies, some funding cuts, and science has been questioned. And even my job changed a little bit in this past year. So you might think, why am I doing this? Because public health is really one of the noblest professions you can go into. It's the lifeblood of the community. And knowing what I know now, I would still do it all over again. Public health has never been easy work, but it's essential work. And when science is challenged, it needs steady voices. Here in Minnesota, you have answered that call through efforts like the Vaccine Integrity Project and CIDRAP, combating misinformation with rigorous evidence-based analyses. When the path forward feels uncertain, it needs leaders like you who will ground decisions in data, in facts, and in the health of our communities. Your commitment to upstream action and engaging different perspectives is critical to improving the health of our communities. My combined medical and public health training taught me not only to look at the individual patient in front of me, but to understand how the places where people live, work, and play shape their health. And that training showed me the power of prevention and the importance of health equity for individuals and communities. This is what your education has taught you as well. At times, public health can feel invisible, and when it works, nothing happens. No outbreak, no injury, no crisis. But public health is one of the most powerful forces for improving human life. It is the reason children live to adulthood. It is the reason communities recover from crises. And it is the reason entire populations are safer, healthier, and more resilient. You are going to bring optimism, resilience, and knowledge. You chose the right field, and we need you now more than ever. So one of my favorite quotes is, "Well-behaved women seldom make history." And I actually have it on my wall with all my TV interviews. I've always taken it to mean, don't stay silent. Stand up for what you believe in. And throughout my career, I have tried my best to live those words. And earlier this year, I made a really tough decision. I resigned from the CDC. The agency's scientific integrity and public health mission were being compromised, and lives were at stake. I spoke up publicly and testified before Congress because silence would have gone against every value I hold as a leader, a scientist, and as a mom. Speaking up is not easy. It may cost you something. But leadership is not about holding a title. It's about holding a line. Your integrity and protecting the people who depend on us is always worth it. This work demands not just expertise, but resilience, clarity, and courage. I share this with you because you will face your own moments when expertise is questioned, when evidence is inconvenient, and when the pressure to compromise feels real. In those moments, remember, expertise matters, evidence matters, and integrity matters. These are not academic ideals. They are the foundation of public trust. Without trust, public health cannot succeed. As you go forward on your own journey, I want to share a few lessons from my career, moments that may resonate with you along your own path. First, stay grounded in the communities that you serve. Public health begins and ends with people. And one of my first federally funded research grants was studying a domestic violence screening program at a county hospital in Atlanta. I hoped, but didn't know if my program was working. A TV station asked if they could highlight the work and just selected one of the women and asked if she could talk with them. What she said was she didn't realize that she was a survivor, a victim of domestic violence. No one had asked her about it. She didn't realize that there were relationships where there wasn't violence because she grew up witnessing it and experiencing it. Through the program, we were able to work with her to connect her with support, and she left the abusive relationship she was in and began a new life free of violence. And that moment stayed with me. Later, when I was at the CDC, I continued to see patients, particularly in a substance use clinic. And there, even though I had the data at CDC, I connected with the patients to ask them what they were experiencing, why they were late. You know, they took a different route to the bus because they wanted to avoid some of the people that they used to use drugs with. These were the things that you learn by connecting with the communities. So never lose sight of the people behind your data. Second, lean into your expertise and use it. You have such transferable skills. I spoke with several students this morning and alums, and it was great to hear about all the excitement and what you all are looking forward to doing. You've been trained to do something not everyone can do, to take complexity and make sense of it, to take uncertainty and make decisions, and to take data and turn it into action. And you've done that here in a place that puts into practice every day healthier, more dignified lives for older adults across care settings and communities. And here in Minnesota, you've really embraced how a One Health approach connects human health to agriculture, animals, and the environment. This protects food systems, prevents outbreaks, and strengthens rural and global health. And certainly with hantavirus, we have seen how this all comes into play. That expertise is powerful, and it's needed far beyond traditional public health roles. You'll use population data to redesign clinical and preventative care, build life-saving programs and infrastructure across countries, and apply data science and behavioral insights to technology and AI. I know you'll go into private sector and work on communication campaigns or occupational health and wellness programs. There are so many opportunities available to you with your public health training. Public health teaches you how to see patterns, anticipate risks, and act before harm occurs. These are so essential technical and leadership skills for today's world. So third, take good risks. Here in Minnesota, the North Star state, there's an expectation to lead, even when the path isn't clear, to light the way and take risks, not just to follow. And you've already lived what that looks like. You trained in a community that has experienced profound loss and reckoning. From the murder of George Floyd to more recent events that have created fear and uncertainty across communities, including for our immigrant communities. Public health requires that same courage. It requires you to stand behind your analysis, to speak when evidence is being ignored, to challenge decisions that compromise health, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. At its core, Public health is about protecting people, especially those whose voices are too often unheard. Whether the threat is measles, gun violence, high blood pressure, Ebola, or misinformation, your role is to speak with clarity, act with integrity, and lead with courage. And when you do, remember this work is never done alone. Early in my career, I was told an out-of-the-box vision I had wouldn't work. It was just too bold. But alongside colleagues and students and community partners, we built what became a 12-university consortium focused on injury and violence prevention in Georgia. We brought together researchers and clinicians and communities, and we expanded collaborative research, taught university courses, and partnered with over 100 community organizations. We received a World Health Organization designation, a national safety designation as well. And you know what? It lasted over a decade after I left, because nothing should work because of one person, but because people are willing to take risks and a shared idea and build things together. Finally, persist. You will face setbacks. I certainly have. Some of my best grants were rejected. My top most cited paper was rejected 6 times before it was published. I've had ideas dismissed. And I was unable to protect CDC's scientific integrity around vaccines. Failure is part of the process. You get up, you learn, and you move forward. I have failed pretty much at everything I've ever tried, but you know what? Then I've succeeded. It's about resilience and that faith that what we are doing is making a difference. So stay committed even when progress is slow. So graduates, your work does not stop at analysis or publication or even implementation. You must also advocate for public health itself, particularly today. Tell the stories of what works. Explain the impact of prevention. Help people understand that public health is not an abstract concept. It is essential for all of us to thrive and to live our fullest potential. If we do not tell our story, others will define it for us. The future of public health will not be shaped only in Washington. It will be shaped in communities, hospitals, schools, companies, laboratories, and neighborhoods by all of you, and by leaders willing to follow evidence, build trust, and serve others with integrity. So this is your moment. It is time to seize it. You are the next generation of public health professionals, and I have so much confidence in the impact you will make. I look forward to watching all that you will do and how the health of this nation and the world will be better because of you. Congratulations, graduates.
Speaking of courage and commitment, we're going to now turn to our student speaker. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce Zidane Galant-LaPorte, who will address the class of 2026. Zidane holds a BA in sociology from Whitman College, and for the past 5 years, she has worked alongside nonprofits, community action agencies, local government, and higher education institutions to build more equitable, inclusive, and compassionate communities. During her time at SPH, Zidane worked on research with the Cannabis Research Center focused on youth substance use prevention education and the health equity impacts of legislation. Zidane completed her applied practice experience with Better Together Hennepin, helping with a quality improvement project using evaluation skills that she learned from Dr. Tracy Toomey. She's currently the Administrative Prevention Coordinator for UMN's Sexual Misconduct Prevention Program. She loves that public health bridges her interests and passions, supporting communities to build systems and practices that help them thrive. Zidane graduates today with a Community Health Promotion MPH and a minor in Health Equity.
Good evening to all who are with us here today and watching online. It is my absolute honor to be speaking here tonight as your student speaker. I promise I will do my utmost to deliver remarks that encourage thought and action for my fellow graduates and do not put anyone to sleep. The road to my studying public health here at the university was winding, like many of you, but was ultimately inspired by the communities and people that have raised me. I come from a line of teachers, public servants, and activists who have worked hard alongside their communities from Alaska to Cape Town. They taught me to think critically about the world and to connect the dots between what is and what could be, which is, in its essence, what public health is all about. I won't deny that this is a scary time to be a human and to be in public health. Wars are being waged at the expense of important safety nets. Genocides are being carried out around the world. Once eradicated diseases are surging, and billionaires are flying to space rather than helping their communities. But none of this represents who we as public health professionals are, because we love our communities. We show up in our communities, and we know that there is still so much to do because we aren't great yet. During our time at the School of Public Health, we've learned many important skills that come with this professional education, from biostatistics, epidemiology, and policy development, to evaluation and management skills, to ethics and theory. Along the way, we've also learned a lot about the world and what role public health should play and how we should be prepared to respond to emerging challenges. I think that many of us here today would say that one of the most pressing challenges has been the implications of the 2024 election on public health. Over the past 2 years, many of us have asked ourselves if we had made the wrong decision by starting a public health degree during this time. We saw funds being slashed and trusted institutions decimated. We've been afraid of what our public health careers might look like in a world of science skeptics and wannabe experts. And as time has gone on, our fears have had nowhere to go but to grow. However, despite these fears, we've carried on with the belief that public health could survive, because we have to survive. It was because of this I found myself thinking about an interaction from Game of Thrones, where a central character asked his father, "How can a person be brave if they are afraid?" In response, the father said that, in fact, that is the only time a person can be brave. And I truly believe that this is what our current context necessitates from public health professionals and from all of us. In order to carry on, we must be brave in spite of our fears. This bravery is what propels us now into the future, because we know the work of protecting and enhancing the public's health is too important for us to cower away in fear. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. In past years, when I've heard this quote, I often felt really reassured that the universe was essentially good and would orient itself without our intervention. But now I have a different perspective. Rather than this arc bending despite our power and will, it bends because of it. Rather than passively waiting for things to shake out, we are the ones ultimately responsible for bending that arc towards a more just and healthier world. As public health professionals, this moment requires us to be brave, scrappy, and relentless in the pursuit of making the world better. I do truly believe that the skills and lessons that we've learned here at the University of Minnesota are critical tools to bending this arc. And we know that the arc towards justice is going to take some serious and persistent bending. But we can face this challenge knowing that we are all capable of cultivating a world where everyone, regardless of who they are, where they were born, or what they look like, can attain their full health potential. By showing up each and every day, by being collaborative, imaginative, and compassionate, we will bend that arc, because we must bend that arc. When I moved to the Twin Cities, I didn't know what living here meant beyond learning to love the winters, which I do, and incorporating UFTA into my regular vocabulary. And before this last year, I had not fully appreciated our state's own history of cultivating arc benders who have been brave despite being afraid. However, I, like many of us here today, witnessed what this bravery looked like in real time this last winter when our communities jumped into action as federal agents marched into our state. In a flurry of grocery deliveries, signal chats, and bundled up marches, our communities came together during those bitterly icy months, working tirelessly to bend the arc away from authoritarianism and back towards justice. I could not have known what laid ahead when I moved here and chose to study public health. But it was during Operation Metro Surge that I became even more aware and grateful to be studying public health here at the University of Minnesota. Even when I, among thousands of others, was scared to leave our homes, I knew that there were people on and off campus who were dedicated to fighting for equity, inclusion, and justice for every single one of us, which again is what public health is all about. Despite the chaos and turmoil of the last few years, we've had the privilege to learn from the current leaders of public health who have dedicated their lives to training all of us to be brave and empowered so that we can now go and build a just and healthy world. We and our communities are better for it. Before I close, I would like to offer some words of gratitude to the people who have helped us get here tonight. To the staff and faculty who have supported us as we've made these academic journeys, thank you for showing us the incredible diversity of public health and the power of education and collaboration day after day. To our family and friends, thank you for your support and for your love throughout our lives. None of us would be here without you. To the Minnesota and Twin Cities communities, thank you for showing the world what democracy and community look like, and for showing all of us the power of taking care of each other, and for being pretty good in the face of injustice. And last but certainly not least, to my fellow graduating students, thank you for being brave despite all that has been thrown at us. I know that each of you will leave here today ready to tackle whatever lies ahead with compassion, strength, and courage. As Audre Lorde said, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. As we move into the next chapter of our lives with our degrees in tow, I hope that when we are fearful for the future, our bravery and passion for this work will continue to drive and inspire us. Congratulations, we did it!
Well, the time has come. Today is a significant turning point in the lives of our graduates and their families. Graduates, rather than marking an ending, commencement, as the word denotes, signals the beginning of the next stage in your life. You will take all that you have learned in the classroom and in the field, and from your professors and from one another, and use the new knowledge to make the world a healthier place. We need you now more than ever. I now invite Professor Joe Koopmeiners to the podium to present this year's candidates for degrees from the School of Public Health.
Thank you, Dean Pettigrew. It is now my pleasure to introduce the School of Public Health class of 2026. We will begin with the graduates of our Bachelor of Arts program, who will go on to work in fields such as community health, environmental health, emergency preparedness, health policy, nutrition, epidemiology, healthcare or government administration, and much more. Shiloh Jones. Aryam Aman. Suliakt Fakunle. Hamza Hirid. Jacob Knutson. Crystal Katzenholz. Jasneet Singh. Jack Lawson. Amal Rashid. Natalie Miller. Christine Cassiano. Edie Myers. Alexa Venn. Tess Haskin. Jaya Bird. Isabella Becker. Paige Anderson. Niall Fayette. Abigail Kwame. Najma Abib. Ikram Muhammad. Lily Weir. Katrina Stanger. Ella Champagne. Katrina Hurdle. Samantha Berge. Eve Herr. Bezelwork Haley. We will now recognize graduates of our Master of Healthcare Administration program, who will serve the changing landscape of healthcare and forge new and sustainable futures for these organizations, beginning with those who completed the residential MHA program. Landon Ellingson. Abby Dufek. Noah Kimmel. Seth Clausen. Nathan Shimamoto. Jarrett Pinster. McKay Knowlton. Chandler Staple. Dustin Hansen. Hamdi Abbas. Amy Talinsky. Sydney Robinson. Carly Benson. Sarah Wilson. Avery White. Heidi Waba. Harsheen Buthra. Erica Bainey. Haley Atwood. Miranda Pierce. Libby Langen. Isan Ibrahim. Olivia Ruby. Amy Quast. Isabel Marozek. Sapna Patel. Jacob Thomas Agatep. Cody Tao. We will now recognize our Executive MHA program. Keita Desai. Logan Knapp. Kristen Joyce. Allison Hudson. Stephanie Adamek. Beth Williamson. Marlis Wyant. Joseph Strangfeld. Daniel Gilmet. Jacob Woods. Trisha Turnquist. Emily Kokuchka. We will now recognize our Master of Public Health graduates who will shape public policy, develop evidence-based programs and outreach, and work in public health agencies, non-governmental organizations, healthcare, and community settings. Beginning with students specializing in community health promotion. Magna Rajulapati. Varshisna Krishnan. Zidane Galant-LaPorte. Emily Olson. Max Whitler. Lauren Lundberg. Anna Ivers. Andrew Monk. Brianna Forrester. Diane Kim Meeson. We will now recognize our Master of Public Health students specializing in environmental health. Claire Lister. Tara Wiskowski. Nadir Hussein. Paige Sorensen. Anna Finley. Madeline Damcott. Sagal Jama. Teresa Miller. Ashley Ray. Munita Toll. Abby Duchera. Tara Detailyor. Itorobong Owat. Joseph Alf. We will now recognize our Master of Public Health students specializing in epidemiology. Matisse Bolstrom. Jarrett Reichel. Megan Glavin. Alam Hashi. Cassidy Miller. Peyton Jensen. Lydia Golden. Caitlin Daggett. Bailey Newell. Grace Huftel. Elizabeth Butler. Francisca Hauer. Sarah Fisher. Jia-Yi Hong. Aishwarya Saravanan. Nasara Dandaganahali Lakshmi Prasad. Alicia C. Samuel Maston. Megan Bruns. Priscilla Macias. Nafisa Rizwan. Bilsuma Adema. Alexis Shuck. Bryce Dolan. Fahim Tassin Rahman. Grace Nuger. Malaya Stevenson. Hani Dayib Sirad. Gianfranco Moretta Galvis. Molly Boxrud. Britt Fulton. Hodo Mohammed. Nafiso Abdi. Priscilla Falemu. Minadi Sharma. Lily Wilkins. We will now recognize our Master of Public Health students specializing in maternal and child health. Yasmin Yusuf Yahye. Adeline Carol Engebretson. Zainab Ahmed. Ilhan Adan. Azmaret Abraha. Dion Locke. Meredith Shimek. Marguerite Puchner Hardman. Kara Cowell. Mary Kenny. Katie Johnson. Marit Yazi Halem. Charnel Bailey. Ruth DeLay Oni. Karina Mendoza. Mallory Marconi. Madeline Wolf. Jordan Addison. Anastasia Grogan. Caitlin Barbosa. Ashley Cermak. We will now recognize our Executive Public Health Administration and Policy Program. Reese Hendrickson. Nithushri Venkata Subramanian. Elizabeth Kina. Catherine Jedlow. Alex Bly. Zoe Pringle. Samantha Austin So. Michaela Ranke. Grace Savard. Enol Claremont. Blaine Domty. Abigail Gassessa. Kamar McKenney Van Buren. Lauren Caesar. Vaula Apia Donqua. Ida Nanvuma. Christy Bechtold. Lindsay Lemire. Autumn Pease. Zach Michael. Bryce Birds. Chris McCoy. Gurjot Singh. Keenan Wind. Mark Johnson. Abigail Knockreiner. Alyssa DeLune. Mitchell Ronayne. Brooke Miller. Hillary Faye Cronin. Jaleesa Jackson. Angela Bowles Edwards. Jolene C. Megan Mullen. Ellen Florick. Annalise Elliott. We will now recognize our Master of Public Health students specializing in public health data science. Abigail Alwyn. Hamza Omar Muhammad. Ashwaq Abdullah. Tenzin Nima. Sine Eskinder. Sophie Witala. Taylor Lands. Dominic Gomez. Lauren Whitty. Katrin O'Grady. Gabby Cuna. J.D. Dixon. We will now recognize our Master of Public Health students specializing in public health nutrition. Jake Kircher. Annalise Vogler. Catherine Riley. Olivia Riegert. Uditi Goyal. Gabriela Romero Frias. Emily Kreiner Woodworth. Mackenzie Waleras. Bolawatifa Lowen. Margaret McCann. Megan O'Connor. Alyssa Battles. We will now recognize our Master of Public Health students specializing in public health practice. Andrea Hilson Jensen. Paige Rudin Kinsey. Valeria Yustyanyuk. We will now recognize our Master of Science graduates who have gained critical skills in big data access management and analytics, and they'll bring their skills as clinical researchers to the world of public health. Ashwin Jayaraman. Yuanlin Fong. Duolan Han. Joshua Hebison. Haoyuan Hua. Shohong Kong. Elise Mendoza. Devin Nerstead. Giuseppe Pangan. Alex Pemberton. Chelsea Reed. Songlin Ron. Bo Wong. Lei Xuan. Jachi Yin. Hanjin Zhou. Anjali Davare. Emily Harper. Sharon Mensa. We will now move to students receiving the Doctor of Philosophy degree. The highest honor in the School of Public Health. Our PhD graduates will become the next generation of public health scientists in the public and private sectors, and about half of them will go on to have academic careers. Earning a doctoral degree is a milestone achieved by less than 2% of the global population. It is a joy to honor our doctoral students today, to celebrate their achievement with you, their loved ones, to mark the end of this journey, and collectively look forward to all that they will do next. We will now welcome Martha Barnard, who's receiving a PhD in biostatistics and who will be hooded by Professor Julian Wolfson and Associate Professor Jared Hewley. We now welcome Zuofu Huang, who is receiving a PhD in biostatistics and who will be hooded by Professor Julian Wolfson. We now welcome Jiyu Kong, who is receiving their PhD in biostatistics and who will be hooded by Assistant Professor Tianzhong Yang. We now welcome Josie Sorensen, who is receiving their PhD in biostatistics and who will be hooded by Assistant Professor Tianzhong Yang. We now welcome Kaifeng Yang, who is receiving their PhD in biostatistics and who will be hooded by Assistant Professor Tianzhong Yang. We now welcome Rebecca Burton, who is receiving their PhD in environmental health and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Susan Arnold. We now welcome Jacob Cassens, who is receiving their PhD in biostatistics and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Jonathan Oliver. We now welcome Eleanor Hansen, who is receiving their PhD in Environmental Health and who will be hooded by Professor Irina Stepanov. We now welcome Marie-Claire Meadows, who is receiving their PhD in Environmental Health and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Jesse Berman. We now welcome Melissa Mueller, who is receiving their PhD in Environmental Health and who will be hooded by Professor Craig Hedberg. We now welcome Nita Pakral Rejmi, who is receiving their PhD in Environmental Health and who will be hooded by Professor Craig Hedberg. We now welcome Sydney Redepenning, who is receiving their PhD in Environmental Health and who will be hooded by Professor Craig Hedberg. We now welcome Kyle Underwood, who is receiving their PhD in Environmental Health and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Susan Arnold. We now welcome Alexandra Willis, who is receiving their PhD in Environmental Health and who will be hooded by Professor Craig Hedberg. We now welcome Ethan Cannon, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Professor Pamela Lutzy. We now welcome Catherine Cupp, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Professor Lisa Harnack. We now welcome Allison Dona, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Rachel Vogel. We now welcome Elizabeth Figueroa, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and will be hooded by Professor Jason Baker and Professor Jim Pankow. We now welcome Lenora Goodman, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Professor Nancy Sherwood. We now welcome Habiba Ijaya, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Jamie Slaughter-Acey. We now welcome Subin Jung, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Justin Ryder and Professor Nancy Sherwood. We now welcome Allison Lind, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Susan Mason. We now welcome Aaron Mann, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Professor Jose Debes. We now welcome Jeffrey Michalik, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Professor Jim Pankow. We now welcome Tyler Richter, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Sanaz Sadagat. We now welcome Chunsho Zhang, who is receiving their PhD in epidemiology and who will be hooded by Professor Weihong Tang. We now welcome Dion Bailey, who is receiving their PhD in Health Services Research, Policy, and Administration, and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Carrie Henning-Smith and Professor Joe Gogler. We now welcome Saran Ford, who is receiving their PhD in Health Services Research, Policy, and Administration, and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Carrie Henning-Smith and Professor Sarah Gollust. We now welcome Kenny Arakwa, who's receiving their PhD in Health Services Policy and Administration, and who will be hooded by Assistant Professor J. Mag Carbia and Professor Sarah Gollust. We now welcome Andrew Schurmeyer, who is receiving their PhD in Health Services Research Policy and Administration, and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Saye Nikpe. We now welcome Elizabeth Watts, who is receiving their PhD in Health Services Research Policy and Administration, and who will be hooded by Associate Professor Saye Nikpe. Congratulations to the School of Public Health class of 2026. I now have the privilege of introducing Carly Allison, MPH student in Public Health Data Science and the current SPH Student Senate Vice President, to lead our graduates in the Public Health Professionals Pledge.
I'm a little too short for this podium. All right. So one of our most treasured commencement traditions is the recitation of the Public Health Professionals Pledge. This statement affirms our shared goal in promoting the health of populations, and it unites us as a profession. Class of 2026, it has been a privilege to learn from and grow alongside you all throughout this past year. And it is a joy to be able to celebrate all of your hard work and major accomplishments via this very special occasion. And I want to thank you for not only teaching me what it means to be a leader in public health, but to be a colleague, a friend, and a human being, and all the joy that comes with that. It is an honor to lead you in the pledge, which you can find printed on the final page of your program, page 27. Once you have found it, graduates, please stand as you are able, and then you'll repeat after me. As a public health professional, dedicated to enhancing the health status and well-being of individuals and communities, I pledge to hold the public interest and health populations as my highest professional goals. Congratulations, School of Public Health, class of 2026. Graduates, you may now be seated.
Graduates, you are soon to be official alumni of the School of Public Health. Our alumni family includes more than 12,000 living alumni and stretches across the globe. SPH alumni have become national health leaders, health system CEOs, state epidemiologists, and experts within the World Health Organization. And they serve on the ground in communities across the country to increase well-being among all people. You join legions of dedicated professionals who share your commitment to making the world a healthier place, and I have no doubt that you too will make your mark. Here to deliver a message of welcome is the SPH Alumni Society Board President, Kim McCoy. Kim serves as the Director of Program Management at Stratus Health, where she leads initiatives focused on improving healthcare quality and patient safety across Minnesota and the Midwest. With more than 15 years of experience in public health and healthcare quality improvement, Ms. McCoy has worked with healthcare organizations, community partners, and regional collaboratives to address complex issues, including chronic disease management, care coordination, infection prevention, and opioid misuse. Throughout her career, Ms. McCoy has focused on advancing quality of care and quality of life for individuals and communities through the use of process improvement, operational planning, and change management strategies. Her professional experience includes roles with federal, state, and local public health agencies, and she previously served as a Presidential Management Fellow. Ms. McCoy earned an MS in Health Services Research Policy and Administration and her MPH in Public Health Administration from the University of Minnesota School of Public Health. Please help me welcome Kim McCoy.
I'm just going to go ahead and say you are officially alumni now. So welcome to the alumni community. I'm Kim McCoy, a proud two-time alumna of the School of Public Health and your current School of Public Health Alumni Society Board President. On behalf of our entire alumni community, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you and to offer my heartfelt congratulations as you become the newest members of this truly extraordinary and ever-growing network of public health and healthcare leaders. I'd like to say the hard part's over, but that's not really true. It just changes. The hard changes. You have worked tirelessly, navigated challenges, made sacrifices, and committed yourselves to a field that calls for courage, compassion, and conviction. Today, you cross a defining threshold. You will leave here not just with a degree, but with the responsibility and the privilege of shaping healthier communities, advancing equity, and leading change in a world that urgently needs your expertise and your voice. The first degrees and certificates in public health were awarded by the University of Minnesota in 1935. Since 1982, the School of Public Health Alumni Society has served as a bridge between students and alumni, advancing excellence and equity in public health across communities and around the world. You will become part of that story, a community of over 12,800 alumni dedicated to making the world healthier, safer, and more just. As I look back on the day when I first ventured into the field of public health, about 30 years ago now, I did so with excitement and also with trepidation. I was eager to put my newfound knowledge and skills to the test and also to experience the reality of public health policy and practice, to understand how the sausage is made, as they say, and my role in making it. I believed and trusted that my efforts would be grounded in evidence and that science would inform my path forward. I still believe that. Today, you join a legion and a fellowship of people like yourselves who are dedicated to improving health and well-being for all. We bring a diversity of experience, perspective, culture, identity, belief, and discipline. Our community and our diversity is our strength. It's your strength. Public health needs you, needs your passion and your determination and your compass to keep us on task and on track. I need you to rise to this occasion and bring everything you've got to the public health table. And I am truly confident that you will do that. So class of 2026, as you step into this next chapter, do so with courage and curiosity. Embrace discomfort, because there's no way to avoid it. Follow your values, and know that while the road may not always be easy, you are never walking it alone. Together, we can build a stronger and more hopeful future, a future where health is a right, not a privilege, and every community has the opportunity to flourish. Congratulations, class of 2026. I'm proud and grateful to welcome you to the School of Public Health alumni community.
Next, I'd like to introduce Regent Ruth Johnson to confer your degrees. Regent Johnson, as Dean, it is my pleasure to present you to the 2026 graduates of the School of Public Health. Graduates, please rise and welcome Regent Johnson.
Thank you, Dean Pettigrew. Are you ready to make this official? Yeah, okay. It's incredibly inspiring to be here today. And on behalf of the University Board of Regents, I extend heartfelt congratulations to you, the class of 2026. And as someone who has studied, practiced, and taught medicine here in Minnesota for many years, I am incredibly excited to see the impact you will have on the future of health in this country and indeed around the world. Thank you, Dean Pettigrew, for inviting me to be part of this momentous occasion for the School of Public Health and its graduates today. So now, upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority of the Board of Regents of the University of Minnesota, and with the completion of all remaining degree requirements, I now confer upon you the degrees for which you have qualified. Congratulations. You got it.
Graduates, you have come to us from around the world with a rich diversity of life experience. Be proud of your accomplishments, including the degree you have been awarded today, and work diligently to protect and promote health, be it dozens, hundreds, or thousands of lives at a time. Receiving an undergraduate or graduate degree is a testament to your talents, drive, and commitment to making a difference in this world. You couldn't be going into a more exciting and challenging field. I offer my sincere congratulations to the class of 2026 University of Minnesota School of Public Health. Many thanks to the parents, partners, siblings, other relatives, and friends who supported their journey along the way. We ask guests to please remain seated until our faculty and graduates have exited the auditorium. After the recessional, we invite you to continue past the lobby onto the plaza to meet your graduates for a reception. Please note that if you leave the building to take photos, you will not be allowed to re-enter based on new security measures. Faculty, please rise and let's applaud our graduates one last time.